Wagwan squad. Here's something that's really comforting, delicious, simple, and pairs really well with so many different foods. Crispy on the outside and soft and fluffy on the inside, sweet and rich. Today we're making Jamaican fried festivals. Always at parties, beaches, and big events, this is fried dumplings, sweet and more outgoing cousin. This pairs well with a ton of foods. Jerk is up there, but Escovitch fish is what you will see festivals with the most. And I will show you how to easily make this with excellent results. Let's get into it. Festival dough is pretty simple. It's like fried dumplings but sweeter, a bit spiced and with cornmeal. Let's start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Cornmeal. We want refined cornmeal for this. Quarter cup is good. Coarse cornmeal will give us horrible taste and texture because it doesn't hydrate and cook for long enough. A tablespoon and a half of double acting baking powder. I really love this brand. It doesn't have that soapy salty taste baking powder usually has when you use a bit too much. 2 tablespoons brown sugar. G sugar is fine too. 3 tablespoons if you want a sweeter festival. Half teaspoon salt is always perfect for recipes with 2 cups of flour. Next, let's add a little spice. Half teaspoon cinnamon. We should barely taste this, and 2 pinch of grated nutmeg. Keep it subtle. This is roughly 2.5 tablespoons of softened butter. That's a bit softer than I wanted it, but it's not a big deal. Butter is optional, but it adds extra richness to the dough, so I don't usually skip it. Next, I'm just going to mix and combine all the ingredients before we get to the liquids. Quarter cup coconut milk for extra sweetness and richness. And finally, half cup whole milk also for richness. Next, we just mix until the dough comes together. We could easily make this vegan by subbing out the whole milk and use all coconut milk for the liquid, and also dropping our sub in the butter with a vegan alternative. We want to knead this until all the flour is hydrated and the dough comes together. You don't have to knead much more than that. The dough should be just slightly sticky. The next step is crucial to get festival with excellent texture. Resting. I'm going to wrap this and set it aside for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, the dough has really relaxed and is a lot softer with some amount of gluten development. What you don't see is that there are some brown sugar granules that have melted while this was resting, so I'm giving it a mix to get everything combined evenly. Alright, let's make some festival. I like to make them and rest them again for a few minutes before frying, so I'm going to lightly flour a quarter thin sheet so nothing sticks. Then grab a small piece of that dough and roll it in between your palms to form an oblong shape like I have here. You really have to feel this out and give it a few tries shaping this until it becomes intuitive. Resting the dough before frying gives us a really great rise and improves the texture because the gluten structures relax a lot. This recipe yields between 10 and 15 festivals depending on how small you make them. Next up, I want a heavy bottom pot on medium-low heat with enough oil to deep fry. Cast iron is great because it spreads heat evenly. I usually like to add a sacrifice to see how well they will fry before adding the rest. The higher sugar content means this will burn pretty easy, so there's a sweet spot with temperature that you have to find. Too hot and your festival brown or burn before they are cooked completely, and too cold and they soak up a ton of oil. Big problem with festivals. These are doing well though, browning nice and slow. These will cook in 5 to 7 minutes. It's really important to not overload the pot with festival. Alright, let's eat the sacrifice. A bit too hot but very delicious. And we can add the second batch now. Adjust the heat. These don't need to be brown just yet. That is why we don't want to overload our pot because these will swell considerably and become a pain to turn and move around. Need to turn the heat down some more. These are perfect. One way to check if these are completely done is if they sound hollow. Nice. I still have one more. Alright, very nice. These smell so good and it has that subtle smell of cinnamon and nutmeg. Nice and crispy on the outside and soft and fluffy on the inside. And they haven't soaked up any oil, which festivals notoriously do. Taste perfect. Slightly sweet, rich, and the crispy and soft textures are great. Grab that last festival and that's one great plate of some of the best fried festivals you will ever have. They smell and taste exactly how they look. Earlier I spoke about what's great with fried festival, and callaloo and saltfish is one of those delicious dishes, but Escovitch fish is the bomb. So we are going to make some real quick. I got these two very fresh snapper from mommy. I rinse these with some fresh lime. I'm just going to score these so I can get a bit more seasoning on them and they fry nice and even. Pat them dry with paper towel for a crispy skin and set them aside. Next, I'm going to make a quick dry rub with dried pimento. Fresh thyme. I only want the leaves and softer bits. This needs a generous amount of salt that will help to break down things faster. Pimento and thyme are a banger flavor combination for fried fish. I want a bit of heat, so some dried chilies as well. And finally, black pepper and garlic powder. Give that a quick toss. And the next thing we will do is season. This quick spice blend smells real good. Ensure you get on the inside. Next, we shallow fry. Get some oil hot, a piece of thyme, scotchy, garlic, lay in the snapper, place them opposite to each other, head to tail. That way they are really easy to turn and manipulate. Spooning over hot oil helps cook the parts of the fish that didn't make contact with the oil or pan. Right, time for the Escovitch sauce. I'm using a bit of this flavored oil. It still has some pimento and thyme flavor from frying the fish. Escovitch sauce is a spicy vegetable pickle using typical Jamaican flavors like pimento, scotch bonnet and thyme. Carrot and onion are the two main vegetables, but a bit of sweet pepper is popular too. Go ahead and add everything in. I am barely sauteing this. I like to use a big pinch of brown sugar, and I'm also seasoning with salt. And finally, cane vinegar. Chocha is another popular ingredient in Escovitch, but that can stay. You can cook these more, but I want these veggies nice and crunchy, so that's done. Spicy and tangy, very quick and delicious. Escovitch sauce. Alright, let's get it together. This was really supposed to be a standalone fried festival video, but I needed to eat the festivals with something, so here we are. I'm adding extra scotchy, mostly for presentation, and some fresh lime slices, as well as some fresh parsley for pretty. And finally those sweet golden brown fried festivals, and that's done. Can't get enough of these. I will drop the recipe in the description, so go ahead and give it a try. please give these a try. They're so good. Consider becoming a patron. You still get exclusive content even without being a paid member. Since you made it this far, here's another equally delicious Jamaican classic that you can check out.